Hello students, in today's lecture we are going to discuss the life cycle of your service. This means today we will discuss the life cycle of the service in your Android application. Now first of all, what a service life cycle is. A service has life cycle callback methods that you can implement to monitor changes in the service state, and you can perform work at the appropriate stage. This means that every service has some callback methods that you can use to monitor the state of the service, and you can perform work at the appropriate stage whenever required. To create a service, you have to create a Java class that extends the service base class or one of its existing subclasses. Now, the service base class uses various callback methods which we are going to discuss in this lecture. First method is onStart command. This method, as its name is indicating, is used to start the service. The system calls this method when another component, such as an activity, requests that the service be started by calling StartService. If you implement this method, it is your responsibility to stop the service. This means that if you have used StartService callback method, then it's the responsibility of the user to define or to use the stop service whenever the work is done. That is done by using the calling stop self or stop service method. Now second type of callback method is onBind. The system calls this method when another component wants to bind with the service by calling bind service. This means that this call method is used whenever a component wants to bind itself with a service, and this is done by using the bind service method. If you implement this method, you have to provide an interface that client use to communicate with the service by returning an iBinder object. You must always implement this method, but if you don't want to allow binding, then you should return null. Now third method is onUnbind. This method is used to unbind the component from an activity. The system calls this method when all clients have disconnected from a particular interface published by the service. Fourth method is onRebind. The system calls this method when new clients have connected to the service after it had previously been notified that all had disconnected. It's onUnbind method. This means that onRebind method is used after unbinding of the component from the activity. Now fifth method is onCreate. This method is used when the service is first created by using the start command or onBind command. This call is required to perform one-time setup. Now sixth method is OnDestroy. This method, as its name is indicating, is used to destroy the service. The system calls this method when the service is no longer used and is being destroyed. Your service should implement this method to clean up any resources such as threads, registered listeners, receivers, etc. Now, this is a diagram showing the service state's life cycle. Now, I will explain this diagram in brief. Now, first here it is written, service is started by using StartService. This I have already told you that you can start the service by using the StartService method. Second is, after starting your service by using StartService method, you have to use the onCreate method to create a service. Then you have to use onStart method to start that created service. Now here you can see the service is running. The service is stopped, no callback. If the service is having no callback then the service will be stopped, and after that we will use the onDestroy method to destroy that service, because that service is currently not being used. So we have to destroy that service by using the onDestroy method. Now after this step, the service is shut down. This means the service is completely destroyed. Now here the service is created by using the bind service method. Using bind service method, this means the activity has to bind with the component by using the bind service method. This is also done by using the onCreate method. then use the onBind method. Then here client interacts with the service after using the onBind method. What here is on unbind. If the user is not interacting with the service, then you have to use the on unbind method to destroy that binding. Now here you can also use on rebind to again use that binded service that you created by using on bind method. Now after on unbind method, you have to destroy that bind. You have to destroy that binding by using OnDestroy method. Now after that, service is shut down. The service will be completely destroyed. What we discussed in this lecture, we have discussed the states of service lifecycle. We have also discussed the flow chart explaining the complete procedure of your service. In the next session, we will discuss a practical example to create a service using Android Studio. Thanks for watching this video.